Hi everybody, this is Dagmar from Montezuma Yoga in Costa Rica. And today I want to talk to you about yoga home practice versus yoga self-practice. And I want to give you some tips how you can establish a self-practice that feels magical and doesn't get boring and really suits your needs. So first of all, let me define home practice and self-practice. To me, a home practice is when we put down our mat at home, but we're still using a teacher, for example, through an online platform like Yoga Glow or any kind of YouTube yoga videos. And so we're still being guided in our practice, even though we're doing it at home. And self-practice to me is when really we are our own teacher. And that to me is really the goal of teaching yoga to all my students, is to inspire them to eventually also start to really have a self-practice. And I know it's very challenging. I practice yoga for at least 20 years. And I don't have a regular self-practice, I admit it, because to me it's also challenging, because there's a lot of magic that happens in self-practice, but there's also a lot of challenges that come with self-practice. But I think that's really the gift of the self-practice, that you just come against your own obstacles and you repetitive thoughts, and that's really why we practice yoga, right? So that we can move beyond that. So I think there's two main obstacles to a self-practice. The first one is our perfectionism. For the longest time, my best excuse was like, oh, I don't have an hour or 90 minutes to get on the mat to do my practice, so I rather don't do it at all. Or I would go on my mat and then judge myself for not being there 60 minutes because I felt it wasn't real. It's not really a good practice if it's not at least 60 minutes. And I totally let go of this expectation because it really wasn't serving me. And now my practice is always different. Sometimes it's 10 minutes, sometimes it's half an hour, sometimes it's an hour. And sometimes it's just a meditation, sometimes it's more asana, sometimes it's a more yin-oriented practice. And I really let my body guide me now. And it's been wonderful and such a relief not to put that pressure on myself. The second obstacle is comparison. So for me, being a yoga teacher, I have a lot of colleagues that would like then post or tell me, I had such an amazing self-practice for 2 hours, it was so blissful, and then I would think, oh my God, what's wrong with me? Why am I not having such a practice? And I let that go completely too, because we're all different, our bodies are different, we all need something different. And again, the purpose of a self-practice is to really find what works for you. And so here are like some tips to start a self-practice if you haven't already. Create a sacred space in your home, a place that's really just for you, a little corner where you can put something, some items that are meaningful to you. Like you're creating a little altar maybe, and there can be a candle, there can be like a crystal or a picture of your loved ones or of your teacher. Start with something that's simple but beautiful and meaningful to you. And then pick a time that's convenient to you. To me, it's actually really first thing in the morning, after waking up, having a little juice or a little tea, and then I get on my mat, because once I get to start looking at my phone and get into Facebook and Instagram, the morning is gone, I admit it. So, but when I have this precious time to myself first, then really my day goes in a different way. I get lots of inspiration for my classes through my self-practice, and I just feel more clarity and more centered when I sit down first thing in the morning and at least do a meditation. Another tip I'd like to share is to start with three poses that are really dear to you, that you love, that are very nourishing to you. For me, for example, it is warrior, well actually it is the Trikonasana, the triangle pose with the extended arm. And I just love the pose because I feel this super long stretch from my fingertips into my heel, and my whole side body stretches, and it's very energizing, and that's what I love about this pose. And then I practice pigeon pose. Always throw that in my practice, because pigeon to me is also a challenging pose, but somehow it's like sweet pain, and I really feel it opens my hips, and I feel it's really great because I really didn't like the pose at first, and I've really come to open my hips a little bit more each time, and now I really enjoy it. And another pose that I really, really love is to just lie back, take the soles of my feet together, place my right hand onto my belly, my left hand to my heart, and to just breathe and lie back. It's called Goddess Pose. And focus on my breathing and make sure that I breathe from my belly all the way up into my chest and feel the expansion of my chest. Because many times we hold ourselves protected and closed on just a simple pose like this, or even with the block underneath your hips, can be so helpful and nourishing and meaningful. Then, of course, always include Shavasana. People like to skip in Shavasana, but I think Shavasana is one of the most important poses because we need some time to integrate whatever practice we do. So make sure at the end, allow yourself at least for a 5-minute Shavasana. And then start a little meditation practice. So special, so valuable, so challenging, but so worth the challenge. And I'd say start with 5 minutes every day. Find a space, sit down, calm, 5 minutes every day, and just watch your thoughts, watch your breath, listen to whatever sounds are around you, and just take that time with yourself and inquire, because that's what self-practice is. It's really taking that moment with yourself to inquire, to watch what's going on for you. It's a way to connect to your intuition, connect to your heart, and it helps to make decisions. And like I said, it's not always pleasurable. Sometimes it's really a struggle, but that's important too. And there's a lesson in that too. There's a lesson in what the things that always show up in your self-practice, maybe doubt, fear, whatever it is, and it can help you to move through it. So I would say this is it for now. Don't want to throw too much at you, and I think it's a good start. If you do have a self-practice and you have any other ideas or tips you want to share, please drop them below in the comments. And if you have any questions or things that you would like me to talk about, drop them in the comments. You can also hop over to my Facebook group. It's called Spark Your Life and Yoga Community. It's a closed group, but I'm happy to add you as a member. And this is a community where I just started it, where I'm planning to really hold space for all of us to share and to really be real, and not to just give likes, but to really share our struggles, our hopes, our dreams, and how we can support each other. So if you enjoy this video, let me know, and I hope it's helpful, and I wish you a really beautiful self-practice. Thank you so much for listening, and have a beautiful day. Namaste.